I was feeling like I should quit because I didn't think I could rebuild my team. I was sitting at the peppermint trip and I was looking around me and I'm like, if you guys can do this, I can do this. After like 9 years of building a business, I'm like, why can't we change our mind and all of a sudden shift it and like literally be like, I'm winning. So like, what do you want to do? Like it is whatever you decide. And you're going to hit lows, but also like, are you winning? Are you losing? Do you want to create a business or sit there and hope it shows up? Like it's not going to show up for you. You have to take action. Like absolutely take action.
Welcome, welcome to those just joining. My name is Andy Goddard, and I believe that you were born to be free. And freedom it's who you are. It's in your DNA. And doTERRA just happens to be the best vehicle for creating freedom at any level that you choose, any individual levels or as high or deep as you choose. We have loved, my wife and I, partnering with doTERRA for the last 18 years and partnering with amazing souls and celebrating their success, just watching freedom spread. Well, I'm super excited to bring on a guest, a Blue Diamond leader, Kelly Mallinson. So we would love to hear some of your journey before doTERRA. What was life like before doTERRA? What were some of the pain points or the things that, just describe your life for us before doTERRA.
Hi. Hi. Good morning, everyone. It's early
Welcome.
call. I'm Pacific time, so I'm an hour ahead.
So
Well, okay,
that
so I have four kids, and so I started doTERRA 2015. I got my first, family essentials kit. But prior to that, I had four kids. I was a former psychiatric nurse, so I had been working, and then I realized I didn't have enough hours after my third child to renew my license. So I was being a stay-at-home mom, but my youngest was in like kindergarten, and I I was, what was this, like 11 years ago now? I can't believe how where the time has gone.
right? It's like a time warp.
I know. I'm like, wow. So I got oils in 2015 and I was like, I was actually, it's funny because the girl who asked me to buy oils was like, "Hey, if you know anyone who wants to do a business, um, here's some samples." She gave, remember how before, like with your enrollment kit, you got this big package of like the build
Yeah.
guide and like all like, so she handed me that, like it was in like a plastic case and then a bunch of samples. And I was like, I didn't like any of them.
Uh-huh.
She gave me all the blends and I don't like them. And at the time, like I was like a patchouli girl. So I was like, what is this citrus bliss? Ugh. Like I didn't like but she was my friend. So I was like, well, I'll support my friend. But I'm not doing the business. Like, no chance am I doing this business. And then I got on guard and that was it, really. I, so I
So
got, oh,
what did
hmm?
what did On Guard do for you? Tell us more about that.
Well, so my daughter was in kindergarten and I made a roller like diluted on guard and I was putting that on the bottoms of her feet. And she was literally the only kid who didn't get sick in kindergarten.
Hmm.
So, and her teacher was like, had a staph infection on her face. Like everybody was super sick. Like it was gross. And so I was really happy. Now I wish I wasn't so happy, but I was really happy that my last kid was going to school full time. And I was like, yay, she's not coming home sick. So and then also my kids hadn't slept through the night for 10 years. Like no, like someone was up in the middle of the night and I made a roller of Serenity and vetiver and rolled that on everybody before they went to bed and people started sleeping. So um I I was like, hmm. So that was in September. And then in December, they kept trying to get me to a wellness consult. And I was like, no, you're trying to get me to do the business. I'm not doing this. And then I went and they told my friend's sister got me to go because she said my sister's making $9,000 a month and she was a platinum. And she's like, she barely does anything. I'm like, oh, hmm. And my friend, her husband had just lost their house. And so they were in like pretty dire straits. So I was like, $9,000 a month. Maybe I should go talk to these people because they're kind of shy. I know them. They're not like some random like people
Mm.
that are, like they were real people. So I went and I talked to them about the compensation plan and like how to get this started. And then I had an oils class in January and I haven't even hit burnout. Like I've been doing this since since then. Every once in a while I'll have a little dip, but like so so yeah. So last that was it's I've been doing this ever since.
Wow, what a journey. So talk to us a little bit more about you said you bought that like family essentials kit or similar to from your
Mhm.
friend. What
Mhm.
was it that motivated that? I mean, you talked about sleep with the kids and
It was honestly like, I mean, I'll always support my friends in their
mm,
business. And like and I did use essential oils. I'd used them for a long time, but I like to be quite honest, I like my daughter kept having really bad diaper rashes and I'd
mm,
use a lavender cream or whatever and it would just make it worse. So I was sort of like, okay. The products I had been using weren't actually working. So I got these oils. I mean, my husband actually forgot to throw this one in there. He had just lost his job in
mm,
May, and I was actually not supposed to spend any money. So
mm.
so I snuck in the Family Essentials kit because it was the cheapest one. And then like that was when it didn't come with the diffuser. It was like we're in Canada, so it hadn't launched in Canada yet. So there was no Canadian warehouse, and I think it was 159 US dollars. And it was like the top 10, and Smart and Sassy was the oil that came with it.
Mhm.
So
That's awesome.
yeah. So that was pretty cool actually. I got
That's
that and
awesome.
then I didn't because I didn't go to an oils class. I really burnt my mouth with oregano. Uh,
Mm,
and also like my own oil win for wanting to do this as a business is like this is probably TMI for everybody, but I was like getting chronic bladder infections and I was using On Guard on a daily basis, like a couple of drops internally, and I stopped getting them.
yeah. Wow.
So that was a really good win actually, because being on
That's
antibiotics every 6 weeks wasn't working.
wow. No kidding.
Mhm.
So, which part of Canada are you from?
Where I'm in BC, I'm in the West
Okay.
Coast. Um, we're and yeah, and we're growing, regrowing the
Yeah,
the market out here.
like many of us.
Yeah.
So, talk to us about your original build. You said that you jumped in. It, I think you mentioned that your husband was unemployed for a season. Was that the main motivation, or what motivated you to want to share?
Well, they were working. So like it was honestly like I was before I met her to talk about the business, I was making cold and flu bombs and giving them out to everybody.
Mm,
I didn't want to run my own rewards order. I didn't want to run my own LRP because I had been stuck with another company that
mm,
kept auto shipping the same stuff and I was really annoyed by it and I was like act like the other company drove me nuts and I wasn't
mm,
selling it, but I was like locked into this order that like with
mm,
things that I didn't even really like. And I had to
mm.
fax them a paper to cancel the rewards order. So, which I've sort of a little bit carried that trauma of this through my with my doTERRA business because sometimes I'll well, now that we have VMG out of the Canadian warehouse, it's way better that I can like I feel better about getting people on that because it's way cheaper. Like to now it's out of the Canadian warehouse, like
Mhm.
$60 a month cheaper than ordering it out of the US warehouse with the exchange.
Wow.
So that's a big deal. So at my original build, so I'm building, I basically told all my friends, which I'm not going to say that's the best way to go because we had a little breakdown down the road, but my three best friends were on my front line. And so I just said, okay, your people are building, so we just built like that. And I basically had it, we just built that way. But I'm also do you like talking about strengths at all? Like woo is my number one
Absolutely.
strength. So woo's my number one strength. So I basically like if I decide I'm enrolling people, we're enrolling people. So like we're doing Masters Club right now, and I have four personal enrollments like in the last like 2 days. So it's like as soon as I like turn it on, I can do it. Like I did win Diamond Club 2 years ago
Wow. That's amazing.
with 195 personal enrollments. So
It's incredible.
right? It's crazy. Like that's not sustainable, so nobody think that that's a like real possible thing. But like I mean it can be, but it was that was exhausting. So but it was fun. It was really fun and it's like I sometimes I just get like so excited and motivated to do this
Mm.
business and it's like I don't know. Like I'm having like such a good like experience with the latest like products like the frankincense capsules and like just so many good things are happening
Mhm.
and there's a lot of notice about um people okay I can tell you that about so like I'm really talking about how I've been using the products for 10 years and when you actually use like good things on your body and in your body like you don't look old when you get old so you
Mhm.
know people like that okay Shelley um how did I sign up so many people? Okay. So, okay, so I'll just give you an example. So, my month of May was this May was really slow for my team for whatever reason, not sure what was happening there. Maybe it was like a calm before the storm. And it is like okay, so we have three pieces here. We've got mindset, if you think you can, you can, and being grateful. um, and getting out of like the negative story around because people really are like, oh, I can't do what you do, or blah, blah. Like, you know what? We can do anything. We just have to align to the right, like, emotions, energy, like all those things. Like, it's like if we're sitting around going, oh, like I can't do this, I can't be her, you know, I decided June 1st, I'm like, because I want to win the incentive trip because this incentive trip looks really cool, but you need to get big points in order to make it happen. So I'm going to ask 5 people every day to buy something, like in whatever way it looks like. So I'm starting with like reaching out to some of my old customers, checking in with them. I do vendor events. Um, I do farmers markets, which they don't really like around here to be an MLM at the farmers markets because they want like homemade stuff. So I actually have like a healing studio where I do like different energy work and symphony of the cells and aroma touch massage and I actually give away a lot of free sessions and I get people into the studio to like have a symphony of the cells, like spend an hour just relaxing, put the oils on them, put some nice
Mm.
music on and let them chill out. And so it's getting like it's one-to-one in-person stuff. Like I'm not a social media influencer. I have
Mm.
a lot of people who follow me on Facebook and Instagram, but it's being authentic and being vulnerable and like okay, so the piece is your mindset. Mindset's huge. And taking action. Like you taking the action and like not being scared to like check in with people until they tell you to go away. Like really, like and like I have people like I'm a really good example of please keep following up with me because I'm really busy. Like I have ADHD. So I start 18,000 things at once. And if I told you I would buy something, I will, but I might forget, I might get busy, your message may get buried. And until I say, actually, I really don't want anything from you, just keep checking in. Like we have to take action in this business. Like income producing activities is not learning. Like it's
Mm.
not learning, it's not showing up to team calls, it's making new friends
Mm.
and like going and putting yourself out there and I mean however's comfortable for you. Like I mean
Mm.
sure, there's people that are introverts. I'm extrovert and I'm okay to go running around. Like yesterday I went I was like I don't want to I'm just going to chill out today and I went to a coffee shop and I got a pedicure and I was talking to people. Like I stepped out of the box. I went to the naturopath the other day And I tried to get him to get oils in there because he treats cancer patients, and he tried frankincense, lemongrass, and marjoram for pain on people, and it upset their digestive system. And so he was like, "No, I'm good." And then I thought about the frankincense capsules, and I talked to him about that. And this is a really good tip for you guys. Apparently, there are some studies in the naturopath cancer thing going on that there's a part of the frankincense that's akba, which we have that. That's the boswellic acid in the capsule that they are like really talking about in the naturopath world that is helping with cancer and stuff. So like, I mean, they're talking about that and they're looking for that product. And we have 37.5 milligrams in it in one capsule. So if you guys see a naturopath, like some naturopaths, like it might be a good conversation to have with your naturopath about what this particular product is. So, that's a tip. He was actually quite excited. He's like, I think I might need to order 8 bottles of this a month. I'm like, okay, sure. I'd be more than happy for you to do that.
I love that. So awesome. So that's how you find people. And then as far as enrolling them, do you do classes? Do you do one-on-ones? Um,
Um,
you said you don't do much online.
no, yeah, I mean, if you are friends with me on Facebook, you'll know that I do a lot of Facebook Lives
Mm.
and I post about air fresheners in cars when I go traveling in Ubers. And so, but there's that. Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you, I don't know about you guys, but classes don't seem to be working over here too much. It's weird. It's like people have some resistance to have doing this. So one-on-one, I do have, you know what? I do have classes every month. I like starting on Monday. I have a spa beauty class happening. We're going to do a little foot soak. I'll do a little shoulder massage and they'll make a glow up serum. And if I make an Eventbrite, usually I get 1 or 2 people from the Eventbrite that I don't know and that'll show up. So don't be afraid to use Eventbrite, or there's another ticketing platform called Humanitix, and
Hmm.
they money. They charge less money and they show up on Google searches quite nicely. So and yeah, they try and their fees go to nonprofit. So yeah, I've been
Great
using
tip.
that. Yeah, yeah. So there's
We
like
we got sick and tired of Eventbrite and we switched to Ticket Tailor. The fees at Eventbrite are just exorbitant. So
yeah. Yeah, the
lots of great options.
Humanitix people, they're nice. It's good. It's an easy platform to deal with. You just need to attach a Stripe account to it.
Cool.
Um,
Love that.
I like to add like an Eventbrite portion or like some kind of ticketing portion. And then strangers come. They show up. So I've had like also doing gut health and sourdough classes, which those seem to generate people to show up, and everyone's got gut health problems. Those are good. And then there's what else is there? Oh, and then detox. And then, okay, another tip here, you guys, the plastic detox show on Netflix. When I do vendor events, I've talked to everybody about that. Have you guys seen it? You should watch it. It's definitely supportive of what we're all trying to do with like reducing toxic load using oils. So that's a good tip. So it's like really getting people to like not fear mongering, but like still like, hey, you're eating a credit card worth of plastic a week. The least you should be doing is having some lemon oil every morning.
Yeah.
Like real life
Powerful.
things that like people can like look at. And so um I really avoid any conflictual anything. If anyone gives you a tip about or says something about revive oils, just tell them to turn those ads off just because they're stupid. Just turn them off. I'm not a part of that. Like we're not aligning and agreeing with that kind of thing. Like and I'm never going to argue with somebody about like their opinion. Like there's this BC Crunchy Moms group, and yesterday there was a post that said, promote your business anything but MLM EO businesses. And I went, really? Okay, that's interesting. So I promoted all the other events that I have, like all the different like other things that I'm doing, and I'll just get those people in and they'll see my oils everywhere and they'll want to buy them.
Love that. Talk to us about builders. You've built a blue diamond, so that's 5 golds. How do you find builders?
Well, you have to ask, actually. And what one of the things I've noticed is because we're not doing proper classes like we used to do them, is that the ask of the business is not there as much. So it's like how like a lot of my social media posts lately are that I'm looking for people to join my team. And so I am having more customers talking to me about that. So, what does it look like? How, like, I just had someone on my team for the first time get her 250 boosted. So, like, this is going to be a big thing for her because she like, has been making her fast start, but not actually like a good paycheck. So that's gonna be like $800 Canadian over here. Like just like her like by the time by the time she the ex like with her unilevel and the exchange rate, it's gonna be good over here for her. So like I'm talking about that, like celebrating the wins of the people who are getting other people to use the product. So it's how you talk to them. Like, I mean, is somebody a leader? Are they a sharer? Are they like someone who is actually like wanting to grow a business? Because there's a lot of different kinds of people out there. And, we have to put ourselves out there in order to grow this doTERRA business. We can't, we're not going to just sit here and hope people show up. We have to ask. And asking is important.
Awesome.
I've yet to find uh, anyone from Norwex to come over though. But
They are
yeah,
hard
so
workers in Norwex, that's for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Jennifer's asking what the name of that Netflix title was.
Plastic detox.
Plastic Detox. Thank you. So let's say we've talked about how you invite, how you teach and enroll. Talk to us now about how you onboard. So, what do you do for continuing education? How do you onboard builders? What's your system that you use?
So with builders, I am getting them to do the launch your business in the back office in the training.doterra.com. Like there's launch your business back there. And I encourage them to do the business builder guide certification. Like I think it's
Mhm.
important to get some background knowledge because
Mhm.
um and then but take action. Like so right now I'm
Mhm.
actually getting my team to do the launch guide. Like, I mean, if you look at
Mhm.
the launch guide, um, it's like if you want to build to diamond, you're looking at 30 to like 60 hours a week of not learning, guys, not learning, of take like meeting people, taking action, going to networking events, going like and when you go to a networking event, does anyone go to networking events? Because like they're interesting, like it's not about, hi, I'm going to this networking event and I'm going to enroll everyone here. It's like, I'm going to meet new people and you're going to talk about what you do and ask them what they do. Because sometimes I find networking events can be like, hi, everyone, this is what I do. But nobody actually connects on what they do, like, and how they can help people. So ask ChatGPT for your elevator pitch. Like, and like, because everyone needs that if you're going to go to a networking event. So, finding builders is asking and then launching, like properly launching. Like I would really like to say, can everybody have a class? And it doesn't, that word that's not really working over here so much, but finding events like so I have continuing ed starting Monday, but they're not they're tailored to you could bring a new person. So like you could be a brand new person at it. So like I'm kind of encouraging like my people to bring people. So Monday we're doing a spa class. We're going to do a foot soak. We're going to do some massage and like talk about detoxing your beauty products. And then the next week we're going to do gut health and sourdough. I have a Canva PowerPoint on that, and I show a little video on how to make sourdough, and then I link it to TerraZyme, ZenJust, PB Assist, and VMG. So, so you get them in the door, and then they get to leave with a sourdough starter. So, which isn't hard to do. Like you don't have to be like a magical baker to create that. Just it can happen. And then so yeah, so like I've got in-person continuing ed, and then once a month I collaborate with another Blue Diamond from Australia, and we do like a because he's got a team over here, and so we do North American um, product education for all the products of the month and like all the specials. So we link it in that, and then we get people to that call. And onboarding a builder is also like get them their first enrollment because as soon as they like talk about their warm market and like get them to enroll their first person, and that's gonna like give them some money in their AR to use for the next month. So then they see that money can come in. Um,
Hmm. I love that.
yeah.
Fantastic. Um, wow, so many great ideas. What you talked earlier about mindset
Mhm.
and how that was, in fact, that was the first thing that you mentioned. Um, what are your tips for building, for developing the right or the best mindset for success?
So we have like our little nagging negative Nelly self in ourselves that is like when we get rejected or people aren't doing what they said they were going to do, like it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole of I can't make this work. And it is and into a victim state. So it's really important that I like this business is like literally run on mindset. If we so being grateful for the products, gratitude goes a long, 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 long way. Not aligning with whatever negative stuff you are hearing out there or whatever product's not available right now or whatever. Like work with what you've got. And like I do like a morning meditation every morning. Lately, I've been doing I'm aligning with abundance and I'm a magnet for miracles and like all those kinds of things. So it's like, how can you wake up in the morning and go, okay, how can I be my best doTERRA wellness advocate self? Like, and how can I motivate myself? So there's lots of motivational things on YouTube, like where like if that motivates you, like listening to Denzel Washington, like
Mhm.
there's those, those ones. Have you heard those? They're pretty good. But and like I do a gratitude journal every morning and I talk about who I'm grateful for. And like I cross-line mentor a ton of people. And so it's also like really like I find that actually to be really lights me up because I have no attachment to what they do. And
Mhm.
so watching them flourish and grow, it's super cool. Um, and like when you're thinking, like if you're, please do not contact and follow up with people if you are in a bad mood, if you are feeling rejected or any of those things. Like there's a book called Go for No. And like have you, if you haven't read it, you should read it. It's really like a baseline of like this kind of business. So mindset, I mean, I like listen like positive affirmations, like being in possibility, not in limitation. And like possibility, like what else is possible here? Like what can we create in doTERRA that like is a win-win? Like when we come from a place of service, like how many people feel like they're a salesperson with this? Like if you're feeling salesy, I invite you to like tap into like what would it feel like if you're really helping people? Like you're real like really like if you look at the testimonials from so many people around LLV, VMG, Terrazyme, Zenjust, like all these things, life changers. Like my son it motivates me because he's got ADHD, he's probably more on the spectrum than we really know for sure, and he really struggles with his sleep. And I was like, this kid's like almost 6 feet tall. He's 140 pounds. Let's like blast him with some products and get him to sleep. So I've got him on two adaptive capsules at night. He loves Copaiba. He's like takes like 5 to 10 drops a day. He ran out and he said, Mom, my anxiety is so bad. I'm like, oh, okay, we better make sure we don't run out of that. And two Serenity soft gels. And this kid, he's in grade 12 and he is like sleeping and his mood is way better. And he's like, okay, give me more oils. Like, what else can we do? And so, and the Serenity stick, like this guy's been struggling, and he is such a like a good testimonial for these products. So, you know, dig in to other people's testimonials and your own wins. That's going to also keep your mindset like excellent. Like it can be hard too, you guys. I mean, I know it can get hard, but when you're down low, do whatever you need to do to get out of it and like out of like feeling beat up and all that other kind of stuff. Like it's helpful to just really like you've got to stay with the mindset. Like because I my mindset is not perfect all the time. Like I last month I'm like, what is happening here? And then I was like,
Mhm.
oh, my energy is off and I'm literally killing my own business. You're killing your own business if you're sitting there going, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, going to the garden to eat worms. You know that song?
Uh-huh. So true. Love that so much. Um, I would love to open it up for questions. If anybody wants to come on live and ask any questions, just go ahead and raise your hand. Um, let's see, I think Diane is asking for some clarity on when you do the Copibe Adaptive and Serenity Caps.
At bedtime.
Bedtime. Okay, got it.
But she also asked, how do you enroll close? I did not graduate Silver Club, only enrolled three personally, yet because of Silver Club, I reached out and provided 95. Oh, nice. Join Facebook. Okay, cool. Unable to enroll. What is your point of view on enrolling people?
So we invite her on to come on live.
Yeah.
So, Diane, we'd love to have you come on live and have a chat if that works for you. Some people are at work, and so it doesn't always work to.
Okay. Oh, she's give her a few minutes. I can, so if you're okay, that's when she can get on because it'd be
Yeah,
cool
yeah,
to like try to coach her around this.
sure. Yep. So we probably take other questions. Um, if anybody else wants to raise their hand or put your question in the chat, somebody asked you to repeat the classes that you do, like sourdough and other.
Oh, okay. So I did. So I have the sour gut health and sourdough class.
Hmm.
And the three products on there were Digest Zen. Sorry, we're in Canada over here. Digest Zen, Terrazyme, and PB Assist. And it's a 100 PV order. So, and that would be something that, you could easily get people on rewards. Just subscribe to the PB Assist and the Terrazyme, and then they're gonna get that. Like it's a basic one. I mean, people these days are my point of view is that people are being mindful of how they're spending their money. Um,
Hmm.
and so we want to give people, you really, honestly, you guys, you want to enroll people with stuff they are going to need to reorder again.
Hmm.
The top 10 is great. If you are taking the time to teach them how to really use those oils and they want to learn how to DIY stuff, like that's
Hmm.
that's that's important with that. Um,
So that was the sourdough. I think there were a couple other classes too that
So we're gonna
that you
do a
mentioned.
spa class. So
Wow.
and it's easy. Like I'm not, I'm really busy and I don't like to have these classes with all these complicated things. So
Mhm.
come to my class. We're gonna do an Epsom salt foot soak with some oils in it. Detoxing, maybe grounding, like maybe depending, like we're not gonna do the classes are noon on Monday, so we're not gonna do anything too sleepy. Um, but like something energizing for the day. And then I'm going to do a little shoulder massage with some deep blue. So they feel the products like, and then we'll make Dana Moore's glow up serum and they get to leave with that. And I'll talk about like, if you're new to doTERRA, I would stick with the top 10 oils and like, I'm not sure what's coming out at convention, but like our skincare is really reasonable. Like the cost of like the Virage system is like you could if you go to the drugstore, you're paying more money for all those things. So like, I'm using myself as an example. I've been using doTERRA beauty products for the last 10 years. Like my skin
Mhm.
looks great. I'm not full of Botox and filler. So it works because people are like, Botox is a neurotoxin and you're putting it in your forehead close to your brain. So like we should really be, it's affecting people's ability to make serotonin. Actually, there's been some studies released on that. So, like teaching people what else they can use. And then the other class I'm going to do is reducing toxic load. The home edits class
Mm.
in the training.doTERRA is great because it takes people room by room and shows you what DIY stuff you can make to reduce toxic load. That's a great class. Like, I don't think people use this training situation enough. Also, the forest bathing Shinrin Yoku class, that's also great. Like, have you guys really gone forest bathing? Like if you've gone on a peppermint trip and you went out there with Dr. Riggs, um, you got to really experience it, and it's really amazing. I just spent a couple weeks ago, I did a healing fair outside in the forest for the whole day, and my nervous system was very regulated by the time I left. So, like helping people regulate their nervous system, it's in training.doterra.com, the forest bathing class. So,
Amazing.
so the key words, like key things here that people are looking for: gut health, nervous system regulation. That's like, and people using GLPs really need to have some good nutrition and and
Mhm.
electrolytes and hydration. So, hi. Okay.
Welcome. Tell us how to say your name first.
Diane.
Diane. Okay. All right. Go take it away. I think Kelly, you had a question for Diane.
Okay.
It was
Or how you weren't successful with your silver club. So how are you tell me how you're following up with the people that you met.
So when they're how do I call it? When it's a vendor booth or usually the vendor booth or like recently I just had a canopy in my front yard and I invited the neighbors and got to know reconnected. So I'm in every event I am doing the hand aroma touch. I went to networking events. I've done hand aroma touch. I went to like a domestic violence workshop, and they offered at the end if you want, a hand massage, they set up a table for me, and I said if you are in, I just need the name because I'm keeping track because my goal is to do 1,000 in a year.
Okay.
And I said, if you are interested to learn more about the oils and to learn more about natural wellness, you provide your information. And so I follow up and I contact them. And then I also said, if you want me to send you a copy of the oils that I used. So I've texted them and a lot of them have ghosted me. I went to a teacher's event, so I said, okay, maybe it was bad timing. I'll reconnect during the summer. And then it's like a
You
whole
got to
class
find their pain
individually.
point. You have to find their pain point. You've got to find
I,
out
I, I
what.
do. I do. Like I've done little samples, which is miraculous because a lot of the people like they have carpal tunnel, they have all these issues, and they've like some people say they felt in their neck, they felt in their knees, they felt, because I use mainly the balance oil and I've shared, the power of doTERRA oils and what's in the balance um
Okay,
and
hold
I
on.
said,
What's your
I'm gonna follow up, and I do, and I've never done that before. Like I've been so bad at following up because I don't like to be salesy, but I just follow up. How are you doing? Okay, sorry.
Okay, hold on. You don't like to be salesy. So you don't like to
Yes.
be, so I want to find out what is your point of view around sales. You just said you don't want to be salesy.
Okay, so that was, originally it was hard for me, a struggle to follow up. Like, okay, because I'm in Silver Club, I need these enrollments, and I kind of let go, and I'm like, okay, I just want to get to know you and what are your needs, and that's what the Hand Aroma Touch has kind of opened the doors because I'm getting back into the swing of things because I've had several health issues. So I just tell them
Okay, so what are your health issues?
um,
Like what has worked for you? Like what is your oil win?
well, I tell them, I mean, I had open heart surgery and I don't use medication. I just use my oils.
Okay, sometimes that
Is it?
is too much for people.
Okay.
They're like, okay, I'm not doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like you probably didn't start with that. Like you
Right.
probably, like what if, so I would get in your head like $100, 100 point kit in your head that would impact almost everybody. Like that like would make a difference. Like so one of the things is assume the sale. Assume the sale. Like they're just you just did aroma touch on them. Like, oh my God, like what would it take for them to have like aroma touch, like the aroma touch kit? Like you could learn this yourself and you could do it to your friends and family. It comes with the training. Like that also could be like one of those things, and like get into what's possible. So one of the things I like to use a few different tools. So like I just personally got 4 enrollments in the last 2 days, and which I haven't done that for a while because now I feel like I've aligned and agreed energetically with I'm winning. Like this
Mhm.
is happening. I'm gonna be unstoppable right now. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna enroll 15 people, set your intention. I'm gonna enroll 15 people this summer. Like, and what is your rank?
I think it went from silver down to, I think, elite now.
Okay, so you're going to get back to Premier by the end of the summer, and somehow, some way, like, so set your intention, get super grateful about how you're not on your heart medication and that you are healing and getting well, and then be like, okay, I'm going to get these people, and you're going to follow up with them until they tell you to go away. So be like, hey, like, see if you can invite them to something, and like, because what happens is I think people think like, yes, we're kind, loving, generous doTERRA wellness advocates, and we're going to give away all these things for free. And and then they're not going to come back to us. So
Mhm.
so what would it take for like everybody to start saying yes to you? Like and you use that as your mantra, like the mindset piece, like everybody says yes to me. And then all of a sudden you start noticing, ooh, look at this. Don't send links. Like try to get people on a call. Like just say, hey, you mentioned you had this going on. I was wondering if you would like to get on a call with me to um talk about it. And call people. It scares them. They're like, oh my, someone's calling me and it's not spam. Like they're a real person's calling. Just say, hey, it's just me. I met you at this event and I was wondering if we could get together for a coffee and maybe talk about what oils would serve you.
Do I text them and ask them, or just out of the blue, just call them?
You know, you
Because they
could
did give me their number.
they did give you the number, and so I would call and start because we're talking about this and actually making a phone call. And if they don't answer, send a text saying, "Hey, this was me. I'm calling you and wondering if maybe now is a good time to get together and talk about whatever it was." Do you make notes about everybody that you mentioned that you meet? Okay,
Mhm.
so cool. Like and actually ask. I don't know what your beliefs are or whatever, but God, the universe, whoever we're talking to here, please bring me the people that need my help and are willing to work with me and see how that shows up. Like, you know, if I just message people, hi, please order, like I'm sending people are who I know for sure are on GLP stuff, you know, and they need food. Like they're literally, you don't eat on these products. Like people are not eating enough food. So getting VMG and omegas and like the electrolytes, they actually work better the more hydrated you are. So,
Mhm.
like I'm saying, hey, did you know this? And they're like, oh, it's kind of expensive. And I'm like, well, yes, but you're not eating as much. So here you go. Like, give it a go. Like, it's like, like just be direct. Being direct, people like directness. Like, I'm growing a business here and I was wondering if you'd be open to trying these products. Like, how does that feel in your body if you said that? I'm growing a business here and I was wondering if you'd like to try these products.
It's the GB words together. The
Growing
growing
the
the business.
business?
Well, because by trade I'm a nurse, and so like I am used to just giving
Hmm.
and helping, and it's like I felt like before, like I'm taking from them, asking them to buy. But now I
Oh,
realize you're spending money on something else. Why don't you spend it on better quality? So that mindset's changing.
yeah.
Um,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was a former nurse too. So, yes, we want to help all the people, but you want to help yourself too. Like you're growing a
Mhm.
business. This is something you're doing. You're passionate and you have knowledge and like, you're a nurse. Like, you can, like, dig into that and being like,
Mhm.
hey, like, as a healthcare provider, I love these products and I know they work. They're based in science. So, let's get together. Get them all watching the plastic detox show. That I enrolled about 4 people from a wedding fair because I was like, go home and watch it and then call me and then we'll talk about what you need. So like it's be direct. Honestly, like it's not going to hurt. Like the worst thing they can do is tell you to go away and in a with swear words, really, that like like that, like, you know, if they're really rude, like the worst thing is that. The
Hmm.
best thing is that they're like, you know, I'm gonna give it a go. Let me try this. I'll and say work with me for 3 months. Like you know, get them in with like some stuff that's going to work for them, and like, you know, like ask them what supplements are they taking? Like find out. Like ask more questions, and get into the state of, yes, you're helping people by getting them using these products. So you're,
Right.
you know, like, and you're doing good and you've helped yourself. So I would drop the salesy piece, like in whatever way you can, like get out of that. Like, you know what? You're not door to door sailing. Like, look at you. You put a tent up on your front yard and invited the neighbors to hand massage. Like, you know, like awesome. And as if they don't think you're trying to sell them something. Like you are. So just be like, hey, there's some really good promotions this month. Why don't you try them?
Hmm.
You know, and if they say no, good. Move on to the next person. Like don't make it's not a personal rejection. Like that's the other thing. It's never a personal rejection unless
So,
you make it that.
so question, with that no, how
Mhm.
long do you give before following up again? Or do you just say,
Um,
okay, you check, you're
okay,
on
so you
progress.
say, is this a no forever or is this a no for right now?
Oh,
So like ask that. If they say no, just say, you know what, they might be like, follow up with me in 6 months. Right now it's not, I don't have any extra money or whatever the story is that they've
yeah.
got, and see about that. Like so if they say no forever, then fine, take them off your list and move along.
Okay.
So there's that. I mean, it's really, yes, Jeff. Yes. Give them a month and come back. You know, like just be you, you guys. Like and don't make a meaning about yourself if someone says no. Like it's
Okay.
not about you, you know? Like we all make meanings about ourselves. We've been bullied as kids. We've been treated
Mm.
badly by other people. We've been rejected. This is the worst business for women to go into if they've been bullied. Like if you've ever been bullied, or rejected, is where you a little bit of inner child healing. Get that ylang out. Tell yourself that you're good enough, no matter what those people say, and it'll literally like drive your business.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you know, reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, and then you can watch my silly videos I make. And you know, if you're like, I'm down in the dumps, help. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Okay. Awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Wow. Such good stuff. Thank you, Diane, for coming on. Thank you, Kelly, for your coaching. I love watching you play out what you described earlier, which is cross-line mentoring, right? There's there's so much power in in being unattached and from just showing up as to serve, right? No attachment. I think sometimes with the upline downline dynamic, there is incentive for us to mentor, and the person being mentored knows that, and so sometimes that does create some weirdness. So, um, thank you for modeling that for us, Kelly. And um, any last advice for those who are um, thinking about building doTERRA, or maybe they've tried building, maybe they're discouraged? What's your parting advice? And I accidentally changed you to attendee and muted
That's
you.
okay.
So
So, okay. So last year or 2 years ago, whatever, when I decided I was going to win Diamond Club, I was actually right before that feeling like I should quit because I didn't think I could rebuild my team. Now, I'm not rebuilding it because I don't want to work with those people because they don't want to work with me. So I'm building a new team. So what happened is I was like, no, I was sitting at the peppermint trip and I was looking around me and I'm like, if you guys can do this, I can do this. After like 9 years of building a business, I'm like, why can't we change our mind and all of a sudden shift it and like literally be like, I'm winning. Like said, with no evidence possible that I could win Diamond Club. Like I've been enrolling like 3 to 5 people a month, okay, up until this point. I was like, I'm winning. I'm winning. And I literally won. So like, are you guys winning or are you losing? What do you want to do? Like it is whatever you decide. That is exactly like, and you're gonna hit lows, but also like, are you winning? Or are you losing? Do you want to create a business or sit there and hope it shows up? Like it's not gonna show up for you. You have to take action. Like absolutely take action. That's all I have to say about
A to the man.
that.
Wow. Thank you so, so much, Kelly. We have been well fed today, and I hope everyone has been as inspired as I have. Um, so, so grateful for you, Kelly. And what a journey, right? It's not a straight line. Success is not linear. It's a bit all over the place, and that's okay. So thank you for modeling for us how how to take on and choose the right mindset to win no matter what. That's something I hope we can all take away from this. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. You guys got this.
That's right. And we'll see y'all next week.